from the sense of community, it really is about holding space with each other and finding your community. And also, Amaryllis, you alluded to this, your community changes as you change and grow. Your community is built around circumstances at that time, and it's perfect in the way that it is. But if we try to hold on to the old community and step into the newer, better version of ourselves, it creates misalignment or conflict. So it's okay to shed the old community. You don't have to stay plugged in. There's no obligation to times past historical times. The obligation is to continue to plug into the things that inspire you and lift you up and move you in the direction of the best version of you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Authentic Conversations. I am your co-host, Amaryllis, and I am here with our host, Susan.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in the
Depending on
world.
where you are in the world, yes. In our world, at this moment, it is morning. And so I wanted to greet that. Acknowledge the light. We were just talking about having the light in front of us. And, it's a beautiful way to say, for us right now, at this moment in the recording, it is morning time.
Morning time. It is morning time. And, and we're walking towards the light, it's like daylight. We're moving towards the light. When the light illuminates you, it feels good. You feel the warmth of the light, you feel the connection. I don't know. There's just something about, being in the sunlight or, recognizing the work that you do in the daytime, So we do a lot of work in the shadows and in the darkness, we're constantly beating ourselves up, at night, in the dark, when we're alone. But the work that we do in the light really allows others to help us see ourselves, right? So if we're not sharing what it is that we have going on and we're keeping it to ourselves, it's almost like enveloped in darkness. But as soon as we share it, it feels lighter. It feels not so heavy, like not such great magnitude. Because when we keep it to ourselves and we're the only one paying attention to it, it takes all of our attention, and our attention tends to be negative and judgmental when we're looking inward. So imagine that you have this, this burden that you're carrying inside of you, and it's being magnified by you. And as soon as you share it with someone who is safe, or someone that you trust, or someone that, maybe it's a total stranger that you share it with, because maybe that's the safest way to share it. As soon as you share it, it kind of gets knocked down. It gets validated. The viewpoint or perspective seems not as important anymore, because if it's your only focus and it's consuming you, when you put it out there, it just becomes one of the many things out there that, are allowing us to grow or teaching us.
I'm just having a moment because Susan is just talking about something that we have not discussed. And Susan, I really, really feel that this is something that's happening, not just as a subject that we're discussing, because always, things come to us. We don't plan this
Right.
for our audience. We really don't. And we just go with this vibe. And I feel like this is a big topic that's happening for a lot of us, as there's a big transition in energy. We just are on our August full moon. Leo, light, the lion, and in that situation, I feel that, we start looking at where are we? Where am I? I put up, we discuss this a lot. And guys, our audience out there, if this is something you're feeling where I just came from a couple of weeks of feeling murky water. Like I just wasn't feeling like I could move. we have not recorded in a minute. There was a pause that needed to happen. And for the first time, I have been sort of always kind of like reminding myself and soothing myself and saying, it is okay to take the pause.
Yeah, it's
Don't
okay to
force
be
it.
where you're at. It's okay to meet yourself where you're at. And it's also okay to recognize the judgment. You know what I mean? Like we have to, awareness is where it all starts, Amaryllis. And I mean, I don't know if I could say that often enough for anyone or anything, right? But if I become aware that I'm holding these deep, dark secrets and that they're hurting me, then I am more likely to trust the sharing of them, right? If I'm aware that I am, struggling or feeling sorry for myself right now, that's okay. It's not a perfect world. It's not a perfect life. It's not a perfect journey. It's not a perfectly flat, straight path that we're on. So we all have to grow through these moments. And, when I say grow through them, like, yeah, you're going through it, but you're also growing through it. And what are you recognizing that you might need? A lot of women, and I've been doing some reading about this, women, men, people in general, have created this hyper independence as a result of their childhood, right? I don't need any help. I can do this. I can do this because if I do this, that makes me feel like I've accomplished something, right? So I want to feel good. I did it. But it also keeps us from sharing and keeps us from community and keeps us from, being a part of things that we could broaden our perspectives with, right? So if I share what's going on with me, with you, your perspective on it will be different. And that might allow me to heal a part of that. Right? So it's about sharing. It's not about, I'm going to solve this myself. I am going to stay with this myself. I'm going to do it myself. It's like, it's hyper vigilant. It's hyper independence. It's not allowing community to shape you and mold you and create you and nurture you and comfort you. Right? So,
Oh my God. I mean, so we just had a beautiful guest, Nadine and Kelly, come over from WCU, and they invited. I was been talking to Nadine and sharing with her. I reached out to her, and I reached out and just said, she called me. She said, "Do you need me to hold space for you? Do you want to try to solve the situation? Where can I support you?" Right. And then she invited me over to her show. She said, "Why don't you just come? Come, we have a space open. I know it's last minute, but this is why we are sharing each other our work in our podcast." And yesterday we recorded. And of course, the energy was like everywhere, right? Like rainstorm and almost gonna be late and finding a location, a closet to record. And so it finally happens. And I just needed that space, just like you said. And as we were gathering and connecting our energy, I said to her, we have to talk about our soul sisterhood or our community.
Mhm.
This is what I'm missing. I said, and all of a sudden it came down to light to me, that I have not given myself the time to adjust to moving. It takes me a long time. It takes me a long time to nest in my house. Owl is my animal. Yeah, so if you look it up, they don't nest. And I'm missing, I miss you. I miss our yoga class. I miss the barn.
Mm.
I don't allow myself to miss things. I feel lost, I feel like I don't know where to drive or where to go. And that was all this stuck energy that was happening, and in the uncomfortableness, thank God, because I have the awareness and the work that we do, I know that when I don't have you or a good friend that can listen, to hold space for me, that I have to reach out to somebody so that I can talk it out, and then I start getting frustrated with myself because I start feeling like, oh no, what's going on with me, and
I should be able
yeah.
to handle this. This is like, I've been doing the work. Why am I uncomfortable? Because
Oh my God, the more work you do, guys, the more uncomfortable and harder
the more
this
work,
is, okay?
the more, the more work you do, the more work there is to do. Like it's,
Oh God, I just told my husband, God, ignorance is bliss, and I get it. Like, you just want to go back to that box where I was just like, "Do-do-do-do-do."
yes and no, never.
Yes and no, right? So in the process, guys, if you're going through this, you lose friends in this process, your energy changes. We talked about being uprooted. We talked about, and in this process, I was healed by just being held in this podcast. And please, we're going to share. They were just in our last 2 episodes, and we'll post it on our Instagram page so you guys can follow them. And it was lovely because that is their goal of their podcast. This is the same goal that we have in our podcast. And we constantly keep thinking that, are we doing the work? And how big is the work? And it's all about just the people that are around you.
If anyone listens and gathers something, clarity, compassion, understanding, a sense of connection, then that's the work.
Guys, it could be through it. I mean, it says it in the Bible, and it just says, as long as 3 people gather together, 2 or 3, in the name of being light and love and holding space for each other, the work is getting done.
It's a
And
community.
that's where we have to constantly remind ourselves.
So for me, I'm paying much more attention to community, coming back from my trip to Kenya. I spent 2 weeks in Africa, and the community, the sense of community there. I mean, the villages raise the children, you know what I mean? Which is very different from here. There's a lot more, openness and trust and compassion and again, community is the word, right? It's, for as much, so we have so much more than them in the material sense, but boy, oh boy, they have so much more than us in the sense of community and development and growth of the soul of the human being. It's just very different. I mean, it would be wonderful to see a blend of both. If they could just have a little more and we could have a little more of what they have. Yeah, it was beautiful. But again, it comes back to the sense of community, and you start to look around. The other thing, I just went on a trip to Lilydale, New York, right? And that's the spiritualist community, where they believe that communication with the other side or beyond the veil or people who have passed is part of their religion. And again, such a strong foundation of community. So, I feel like the work is community. The work I do with teams, they're small communities. They're small communities. And, within communities, there is always, conflict, but conflict is important in order to understand resolution. We want to live these perfect lives. We want to not show people who we really are for fear that we'll be judged. But meanwhile, we're already beating ourselves up by doing the judging. So, from the sense of community, it really is about holding space with each other and finding your community. And also, and Amaryllis, you alluded to this, your community changes as you change and grow. Your community is built around circumstances at that time, and it's perfect in the way that it is. But if we try to hold on to the old community and step into the newer, better version of ourselves, it creates misalignment or conflict. So it's okay to shed the old community. You don't have to stay plugged in. There's no obligation to times past historical times. The obligation is to continue to plug into the things that inspire you and lift you up and move you in the direction of the best version of you.
I mean, there's no such thing as coincidence that we're having this conversation without, it's again, I keep saying I've had a couple of conversations with other close friends and, they're feeling the same thing, whether you have moved or not, because sometimes, again, you don't have to be uprooted like I did, move from one state to the other, guys. But when you're in movement, when your body starts moving and your soul starts coming out, and you start shining back to the light, while as we wrap up our show, when the light starts shining in front of you, people start seeing you differently.
That's
And
right.
they go, oh, you have a glow. Oh, you are different. Oh, you're not the same person. And
Do you want to be the same person you were when you were 6, 12, 24, 36?
And
Oh,
sometimes, you know what, guys, those that cannot handle the shyness and can't put on some sunglasses to have a conversation with you because you're shining, it is okay to let them go. And it is okay to mourn that loss. I don't want to talk about the fact that this is like, oh, great, and it doesn't hurt. Guys, it hurts. And I know it. All of us have been there. But we have to allow ourselves to heal that wound, to say goodbye to that process of that relationship, and to allow ourselves to say that was the time that they needed to be there. This was a lesson. What did I learn from being there? How do I love myself again? It goes back to loving ourselves and accepting ourselves for who we are, so that the right community can be there to support us. And sometimes that feels lonely and it feels like, well, it's only one person supporting you. But
yes.
don't forget, just like you said, Susan, about visiting this beautiful town, you're not only being supported by the physical people that are here, you are being guided and supported by your ancestors and all the spirit guides and angels and the power of the energy that we all come from. And whatever that is for you, whatever source is for you, that is also being supported. So if you are working, if you found this video, you found us, what we're discussing, energy.
Yes, it's
So
constantly in motion. It cannot be created nor destroyed. It is with us at all times. How you access and utilize it becomes how you live your life.
So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Sometimes we do need to take a break and it's okay. Our audience, I know, have noticed that maybe we haven't posted enough, but we're here. We are in the same boat as you guys. We are not special. We don't get a special ticket because we want to help out. We are here, and please reach out to us if there's anything you would like us to talk about, or subject, or to join us in our conversations. We love having our guests. So thank you.
Thank you.